Hey guys, this is John. I hope you're all doing well. This is a quick video letting you know about an enticing sale that we have going on over at Chessable. So we currently have 22 courses at a discount of 22% or more. And these are some very fine courses that we have on offer. I have the sales page up right here. I know many of you are Chessable users or perhaps have thought about joining the site. I am the co-founder of the site, by the way, in case you're new to the channel. So at the very top of the list here, the team was nice enough to put some of my courses. I didn't ask them to do that, I swear. But we have my Scandinavian Defense course, which we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. We have the Checkmate Patterns Manual by Crafty Raf, as well as myself. Awesome course. I did a video explaining that back in June. 100 Endgames You Must Know. I did the videos for that one. The London System Essential Theory. This is by FIDE Master Daniel Barish, as well as myself. The two Magnus Touch courses are on sale. So the Magnus Touch Endgame, as well as the Magnus Touch Chess Strategy. If you want to hear directly from the world champion on video, explaining his approach to these areas of the game, as well as his insight and advice, these courses are awesome for that. We have The Art of Attack in Chess on sale. The videos there were done by perhaps one of your favorites, if you're watching this, Grandmaster Simon Williams, the Ginger GM, right up his alley with the attacking motif. We have some of International Master Christoph Selecki's courses on 22% sale. So Fight Like Magnus, the Sicilian. That's a course that Christoph published a couple years ago featuring the Sveshnikov defense. Actually, it might have been just about a year ago now that I think about it. So still pretty fresh right here. His very popular Keep It Simple courses on D4 and E4 are on sale. So these are some of our most requested, when is Christoph going to add to the Keep It Simple lineup? He's actually in the process of doing that. So some of the most requested courses in the past. Keep It Simple E4 is the first one that he made, proved to be very popular. So he ended up making Keep It Simple D4 as well. And we're very proud to have, I believe, all of our lifetime repertoires on sale as well. So in some cases, even 40% off. International Master Sopiko Guramashvili recently published a lifetime repertoire on the Queen's Gambit Accepted. You can see that this is on 40% off with the video, 25% off for the Move Trainer. On Chessable, you have the choice if it's a course where video has been added. You have the choice if you want to just purchase the Move Trainer or purchase the Move Trainer plus video explanations as well. And Anish Giri, we're very happy to have him on the site. He published lifetime repertoires, the French defense. So we have a super GM explaining his approach to the French defense. Super funny guy. Do check that one out if you're a French defense player. Grandmaster Erwin Lami's Caro-Kann course is on sale. Shout out to Erwin, by the way. He just beat Fabiano Caruana over the board. So he has a huge feather in his cap. We're very happy about that on the Chessable team. And Erwin is a fantastic theoretician, very thorough guy. And I have the pleasure of losing to Erwin in a memorable rook ending. We have Sam Shanklin's D4 Part 1 course on sale. This is a recent release. And Sam Shanklin's Semi-Slav and also English and Ready Sidelines courses are also on sale. 22% off there. And then rounding out the list here, we have Jan Gustafsson's E4 E5 course, possibly the most theoretical course on the site. This is on 22% discount. Jan is another fantastic theoretician, one of the best around. He's helped Magnus in multiple world championships. And this is some great 1E4 E5 theory. Everything you need to know as black to play that opening. We have Alex Kolovich, another popular author, his Shevchenko Slav, also on sale, another recent release. And then finally, the Nimzo Rogozin course. This is a collaborative effort between Daniel Barish and Christoph Selecki. You can pick that up at a discount. And a few newer titles as well to round out the list. How Good Is Your Chess by Danny King. You might watch him on YouTube as well. The Fearsome Budapest Gambit by FIDE Master Kamil Plikta. Another popular content creator on our site. He published a course on the Budapest Gambit. And then finally, a course by International Master Richard Palliser, The Complete Chess Workout. So that's the entire list. I have a lot of positive things to say about these, but I have checked out basically all these courses, and I really do believe we are bringing some of the best content out there to chess at the moment, and particularly in the openings. I think these lifetime repertoires are becoming hot commodities for players at all levels because of the quality, and we really stand behind that. Okay, now I get to wax nostalgic for a moment. I get to talk about my course on the Scandinavian Defense, and so a bit of a backstory on this. I'm going to click over to the course page. This is the very first course that was ever published on Chessable. So I worked on this course at the beginning of 2016, and we rolled it out, I believe, in March of 2016 when we launched. So this has a lot of sentimental value to me, and we wanted to offer this one at a deep discount, deep discount. It's 88% off as a means of just saying thank you to you guys who have helped support Chessable over the years, and also to get anybody new who hasn't checked out Chessable in the door. And you can pick up this course for $2.22 USD. That's about the price of a cup of coffee at my beloved Starbucks. So, yeah, the price is basically negligible. It's just a means of saying thank you. We revamped this course a little bit, put in some new artwork. You can see the Team Scandi Viking design right up here. Shout out to the team for doing that. I love that. On the course page, there's just some info about this particular opening. I recently posted on Twitter how I have a 62.3% score with the Scandinavian in my database. And that includes against an average of 2376 FIDE. And that includes over-the-board games, serious online events like the I Am Not a GM Speed Chess Championship, which I won on chess.com, Title Tuesday. And I mentioned that not to brag or anything. I really do believe that this is a playable opening for players at virtually every level. So more of a reason to get the word out there about it. And I hope that many of you skeptics may pick it up and say, you know what, for $2, John, I'll take you up on that. I'll take a look at your Queen D8 Scandi course that you published back in 2016 and see what it's all about. So this course has 8,000 plus words of instruction, 142 trainable variations, 36 informational lines. Let's click into the course itself. I'll give you a brief tour. Of course, we're talking about the one and only Scandinavian defense. That is a defense to e4 where black is playing d5, immediately trying to exchange off that center pawn. And I like the variation of taking with the queen. Some of you also play knight f6. That's the sharper attempt. There are some gambit variations there, but I've always liked queen takes d5. Now, as a precursor of something I'm working on, I am currently creating a lifetime repertoire myself on the Scandinavian. It's time to fully flesh out this opening and produce an even higher quality work and hopefully get that out there in the mainstream. So I hope to have that out in a few months. I have my eye on the Queen A5 lines on move 3, I'll tell you. But this course here, the one for $2.22, is on Queen D8, which I believe is still plenty solid. And this is one of the quickest and best ways to get a solid game against E4. This is the type of line that pretty much anyone can pick up right off the bat. You retreat the queen, and we're looking for harmonious development. The kingside knight comes to F6. The light square bishop will come out to G4 or perhaps sometimes F5, usually G4 though. And black will be setting up these light square pawns on E6 and C6. So just to show you a couple other chapters, let's go to the chapter list. So here's one of the main lines. This is where white, after playing knight C3 on move 3, which is the move that most people play, and then black responding with queen D8, white plays D4, taking over the center, knight F6, knight F3, and now black plays bishop G4, pinning that white knight. And you'll see in a lot of positions in this course, black will trade off that light square bishop for the knight, especially if white plays an early H3. Black will make this trade, and even though black parts with the light square bishop, they set up these solid pawns on C6 and E6. These pawns are well suited, being on light squares, to hedge against white's bishop pair and the strength that the bishop pair often denotes. And we're actually following a game of Magnus Carlsen's here, where he played against one of the heroes in this line, Nikola Jukic. This is from the Olympiad in 2014. But Jukic got a typical Scandi position here. Great piece development, knights protecting each other, dark square bishop on d6, kind of protected by those light square pawns too. You can see it stops white's knight from coming up to b5. The pawn on c6 is covering. And these are the types of solid positions you can expect from this course. So that's one of the main lines. A lot of explanation there. There is a chapter on what I call the flank attack. And even now, in 2020, this variation is still catching people by surprise. It's pretty surprising. So in this flank attack line, basically what happens, we have these same moves, d4, knight f6. This time white plays bishop c4 instead of developing the kingside knight. So against knight f3, we're playing bishop g4. But against bishop c4, I advocate this move a6. And as I mentioned here, I had done some research on this move in preparation for making this course. But the idea is to try to play b5 and very often follow with c5 as well. So somewhat unexpectedly getting the queenside pawns involved. There's a guy named Daniel Loewinger who wrote an excellent book called 3 Queen d8 Scandinavian, Simple and Strong. And he takes a look at this line as well. But you would be shocked by the amount of title players that I played this against, and it's like the first time they've ever seen it. So you threaten to trap the light square bishop with c4, and that usually compels white to take. Black gets a queen trade, and black will get this pawn back, that pawn on c5. They're temporarily down the pawn, but it's very simple to get it back. I give multiple approaches that you can use, in fact. Oh, for those of you who have this course already, by the way, we've added in circled annotations and also the lines just to make it a little more visual. So there's arrows that are drawn, circles, things to guide you along the way if you were curious. So that is the flank attack variation where we're aggressively using those queenside pawns, being opportunistic about that. Chapters 4 and 5 cover some rarer approaches. 5 bishop g5 isn't super critical. I won't click in there right now. Knight f3 on move 4, definitely worthy of study, but for our sake here in this brief synopsis, not too important. I, of course, cover various lines in the Scandinavian if white doesn't go for knight c3 on move 3. So here I cover what I call the central destroyer, which is, let's say here, e4, d5, e takes d5, queen takes d5, white playing d4. So not developing the knight yet, but just pushing a pawn in the center. I like to move e5. This is what I've almost always played, even though black has other moves like knight c6. But I like to try to knock out this pawn right away. And if white happens to take us up on that, black can sometimes get a quick initiative there too. So this is kind of a cool line. Let's see if I can remember all the moves in this line. I'd be curious about this. Let me go into, I want to go into review mode on one of the variations. I won't be able to do it because I have to learn it first. I won't force you guys to sit there while I learn it. But this is the line I wanted to show you. So basically, after e5, d takes e5, we're not leaping at the opportunity to take that pawn back. No, we're trading the queens, then playing knight c6. So white's king has been stranded in the center. White can no longer castle. And if white defends that pawn, f4, black can play bishop f5, castle, and play it like a pure gambit. f6, encouraging white to take. And in this variation I give, white's playing bishop b5 and trying to destroy the knight on c6, but black gets a furious initiative, even plays knight f6, giving the knight. And if white takes it, we can see a checkmate here pretty quickly, with white meeting their fate against the light square bishop, delivering the checkmate from d3, the dark square bishop controlling f2 and also g1, and the rook sealing off the e-file. So again, even though this has a reputation as a solid opening, there are ways we can spice it up too, especially if white is playing a little sketchy. Now, chapter 7, we're rounding out the course here, but chapter 7 is one you want to pay attention to. I call it underrated. This is knight f3 on move 3. This is just a line that you must invest a lot of time into if you're black playing these variations. And that is because knight f3 is an ambitious move. Again, most people play knight c3. Most people develop that queenside knight because it conforms to classic chess principles. It hits the queen, Black does have to move that queen. What's not to love? But the thing is, if the knight goes to c3 for white, it blocks white's c-pawn. And that may seem minor, but that can impact the degree to which white controls the center. With knight f3, white is trying to play d4 and c4. Expand as much as possible with the pawns. Get the pawns to the 4th rank, and then perhaps play the knight to c3. So this is in my mind, more ambitious move than knight c3. And I advocate the main line here. And this is the one variation in this entire course that is greatly different than the other lines. So here, Black's playing a quick bishop g4 and developing the knight to c6. So no crab pincer, Black pawns on e6 and c6. Black's bringing the queenside knight out, and Black will castle queenside in this line, oftentimes, and fire away against this pawn on d4. And this leads to some real interesting positions where Black is going after white in the center typically, some tactical variations, some lines that are suitable for the Chessable Move Trainer module, our spaced repetition. This is just one variation. There's a lot of lines, but I wanted to emphasize that if you're going to start playing the queen d8 Scandinavian or just the queen takes d5 Scandinavian in general, be ready for knight f3 because white can throw that at you and you got to know what you're doing. So I devote an entire chapter to that. And then finally, in chapter 8, we go over some rare lines. So that's stuff like what happens if white plays knight c3 on move 2 and does not take our pawn. Black has a lot of options here. I even give this funny move queen d5. I've often played this. Attacking that knight in the center. And we could have a weird repetition, perhaps. There's also a line or two against e5. If white plays that, that's one thing I've been asked about over the years. So for example here, e5. A lot of players, especially at the lower amateur level, do just advance past. But no reason to fear this at all. I love playing against this variation if I'm Black. You're likely to get an improved French or Caro-Kann position. So Black can develop pretty simply here. In this case, Black's actually threatening knight takes e5. There's also a couple lines on things like if white tries to transpose into the Blackmar-Daymar gambit, e4, d5, and then d4, how to handle this. I propose Black play this Lemberger defense, where you actually play e5, so that's a bit of a theme in this course, attacking white's pawn on d4. And finally, there's even advice about what to do against knight f3. Yeah, so another move you sometimes see, especially online when people are pre-moving a lot in the opening. So knight f3 on move 2, maybe white's thinking that Black's playing e4, e5 or something along those lines, or the Sicilian. They're ready to go into open Sicilian. But suffice it to say, this is not a line that Black should worry about. And they give some antidotes here. So, a spruced up Scandinavian defense course, available for $2.22, the price of a cup of coffee, possibly less in some cases. Take advantage of this, or at least check it out. And let me know if you have any particular Scandi questions, especially on the course page for this. I'd be happy to answer. And I look forward to the Lifetime Scandi as well. Probably coming out in December, possibly January, I would say. I'm working diligently on that. All right, so that is my mini sales pitch. And thank you to all of you Chessable users out there and perhaps aspiring users. Again, we have 22 courses on sale for 22% or more off right now. Some real high quality stuff. Do go check it out. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. And I'll be back again soon.